section.
Yo, listen.
Put it in the comment section.
Don't put these niggas in my foot, so I'm not hanging with you niggas.
Ah, come on, cut that shit out, nigga. This shit is for life, man. What you been thinking?
I've been doing some soul searching.
What's that?
And I think I want out the group, okay?
As the government reopened.
And take too long to respond to Jimmy and look at
Put it in the comment section.
Don't talk about me every day. Why? Because I'm on a jet right now. That's why. I am the algorithm. So what you gotta do, you gotta blow a shot at me. When you do the most numbers, they gonna talk about you.
I'm saying niggas is talking mad shit though. Like you ain't even like that.
I'm not gonna drink on. I'm not valid for that. $25,000 bottle.
Wait.
I'm not valid for that.
Nah, get that nigga the other one.
That's it. That's it. Keep talking.
My table, I'm just a little hustler. I ain't got big money. I have 2 bottles. Ja Rule comes in at bed on Monday, throws me out at my table. My girls are like, what? I know the DJ. I throw the DJ 500. He hates fucking Ja Rule. He played your whole fucking album. Bitch ass walked out, and I got my table back.
I gotta have extra trust because Jimmy and Bleak looking for yeah.
The moment Max B walked out into the world again, it felt like the whole hip-hop scene took a breath it had been holding for 16 long years. From the very first clip of him smiling on FaceTime with DJ Woo Kid to the sound of people cheering in the background, it felt unreal. It felt like something people had been waiting on for so long that they almost didn't believe it was happening. That's the energy we're diving into today. So make sure you watch this video till the end because the details get crazier the deeper we go, especially once we get to Jim Jones, 50 Cent, French Montana, and how all of this is already building tension in Harlem. Stay locked in because every part of this story connects to the next. When Max B popped up with that big smile, people who grew up on his wave instantly felt something. For years, he was more myth than man, a legend people spoke about like he was somewhere just out of reach. Every few years, someone would say he might be coming home, and every few years, the hope would fade again. But this time was different. This time we saw it with our own eyes. Max stepping into the world again, fresh air on his face, hugged up with French Montana, laughing like time hadn't moved at all. They stood together like brothers who had been separated but never disconnected. And if you know their story, you already know how deep that connection goes. Without Max B, there would be no Coke Boys the way we know them. Max helped build that whole wave, the sound French Montana used to rise to the top. That's why seeing them back together didn't feel forced. It felt right. It felt overdue. But the happiness didn't last long before someone else jumped into the moment. Someone who never misses a chance to flip a situation into a headline. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And you already know, when 50 jumps into something, he doesn't come for peace. He comes to stir things up. That's why when Max B was smiling on Woo Kid's feed and saying he wanted to work with 50, it was like somebody threw a match into a room full of gas. 50 saw that lane open and he hit the gas like only he can. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens once he starts aiming at Jim Jones. So keep watching till the end because the real storm starts right here. Within minutes, 50 Cent reposted the Max B clip with one of his classic trolling memes. A still from the movie Belly, Rico eating that banana, smirking like he about to snitch. And under it, 50 wrote just 2 words that hit like a punch to the face. Jim Jones. It was the kind of shade only 50 can throw. The kind that feels playful on the surface, but cuts deep once you really think about it. Then he added his kill shot. Nah, said Max home is packed in Harlem. Jimmy about to drop a dime on these naysayers, LOL. And just like that, the whole internet exploded. Every blog, every comment section, every timeline, all filled with laughing emojis, Rico memes, Dipset jokes, and people dragging Jim Jones into the spotlight. But before we get into how Jim Jones reacted, you have to understand the history between him and Max B, because this isn't some small misunderstanding. This is a wound that is never fully healed, a story built on old music, old money, old betrayal, and old pain. And trust me, once we break this down, you'll understand why the moment 50 jumped in, the whole situation went left. Watch till the end, because the deeper we go, the more this story reveals things people forgot or never knew in the first place. Back in the early days, Jim Jones and Max B should have been unstoppable. Two Harlem natives with the same hunger and the same talent, but totally different personalities. Jim Jones was the diplomat from Dipset with the business connections, the swagger, the muscle behind him. Max B was the creative genius, the free spirit, the one who could take pain and turn it into melody like nobody else at the time. Together, they made songs that still live today, like Baby Girl and Get Up. Their chemistry was so strong that people thought they were going to take over New York. But success always brings tension. Money gets involved. Credits get questioned. People start feeling like they're not getting what they deserve. And in their case, it went from small disagreements to public disses to a full breakup. By the time Max B got locked up in 2009, the friendship had already fallen apart. The respect was gone. The trust was broken. And for years, Jim Jones avoided speaking on Max B because the situation was too messy, too heavy, too deep to just talk about casually. Even recently, on his Let's Rap About It podcast with Mino, Fabulous, and Dave East, whenever Max B's name came up, the whole room would shift. The energy would get serious, and Jim Jones would make it clear that forgiveness wasn't something he was rushing into. He even said it straight up. I may forgive, but I don't forget, and I'm not here to make anybody feel comfortable. So when 50 Cent threw that joke out there, teasing him about snitching, it hit a nerve for a lot of people, because Jim Jones has always hated that kind of talk. And if you've seen how he reacts to disrespect, you know why the internet started watching him closely. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Fans noticed Jim didn't respond. No comment, no joke back, no clap back, nothing. Instead, he quietly posted about his new music, like none of it existed. And that silence made people talk even more. The internet never let silence slide. Instead, they filled his comments with banana emojis and Rico memes. They tagged him nonstop. They joked about him being quiet. They dragged him into a conversation he didn't want to be a part of. But here's where the story takes a twist. The same night Max B was at that Jets game, Jim Jones and Mino were also spotted at that same game. Fans started whispering that maybe they crossed paths, maybe they saw each other, maybe something happened. Nothing is confirmed, but rumors started spreading like wildfire. And the thing about rumors in hip-hop is once they start, they take on a life of their own. And with Max B now back in the mix, the energy is different. The city feels different. Harlem feels different. I'm going to continue into the next part where things get even intenser, including Max B's mindset, French Montana's role, the possibility of a reunion, and how 50 Cent keeps stirring the pot.
While the internet was laughing and reposting memes, Max B wasn't hiding or staying low. He was outside. He was smiling. He was in the studio. He was moving like a man who had been waiting 16 years just to breathe again. And that energy alone made people feel like something big was coming. Hours after 50 Cent's trolling went viral, Max was already back with French Montana, laughing, vibing, and recording. You could hear beats playing in the background, see people crowded around him, and feel that old Harlem wave coming back alive. It was almost like the streets got a piece of their history returned to them. And the wild part is, younger fans don't even fully understand what Max B meant to the game. That's why you should watch this till the end, because once we break down how Max shaped an entire sound, you'll see why his return has everybody talking, from French to Jim Jones to 50 Cent, and even artists in this new generation. Before artists like Drake, A-Boogie, Rod Wave, Lil Durk, and even Fetty Wap turned melodic rap into a chart-topping style, Max was already doing it. He was mixing melody with street stories before the mainstream accepted it. His voice had this pain mixed with confidence, this swagger mixed with sadness, that made his songs feel like something nobody else could copy. Even The Weeknd has been linked to sounds inspired by Max's early tapes. That's why older fans are so protective of him. They know he didn't just make music, he shaped a wave. His slang, his tone, his hooks, his delivery, all of it influenced rappers who came after him. And now that he's home, people are wondering if the world that copied his style is ready to welcome the original back to the table. While Max was out enjoying his freedom, Jim Jones's silence became louder and louder. Normally, Jim has no problem responding to disrespect, but this time, he didn't say anything. No laugh, no anger, no comment. And that silence made fans think maybe the situation is deeper than the public ever knew. People kept tagging him, putting banana emojis under his posts, dropping Rico memes from Belly, and dragging him into the conversation even though he stayed quiet. And when someone like Jim stays quiet, people start watching him even more. Even Mano spoke before about wanting to help bring Max and Jim together, but Jim dismissed the idea fast. He said just because other people settled their problems doesn't mean he has to. And you could tell by the tone in his voice that this wasn't music beef to him. This was personal. Meanwhile, Max B seemed like he had turned into a whole different person. After 16 years, he didn't come home angry or bitter. In one of his first big interviews, he said he wanted peace. He said he was a new man, that he was married, that he had kids, and that he wanted to focus on music and family. Hearing him say that felt like a full circle moment. It felt like someone who had left the past behind for real. And fans noticed that his energy wasn't just calm, it was grateful. It was like he came home with a new perspective, like nothing could break his joy. That's why it's so interesting to see how this new version of Max B reacts to tension that used to be explosive years ago. Even French Montana seemed emotional seeing Max back. French built his name during the years Max was locked up, but he always respected where the wave came from. He always made sure people knew Max B was the one who shaped that style. And now that Max is home, French has already offered to help him get back into the studio and even give him full control over his new music. There's even talk about a documentary coming soon, something that would tell the story of his prison years, his influence, and the whole wave era that shaped so many artists today. And trust me, that documentary would shake hip-hop, because so many people borrow from Max without giving him the credit he deserves. While Max and French were rebuilding that bond, 50 Cent was still throwing gas on the situation. But that's what 50 does. He doesn't troll for fun, he trolls with strategy. Everything he posts is calculated. His Instagram isn't random, it's a whole battlefield, a place where he creates storylines and pushes narratives that get the whole internet talking. He knows exactly where to poke, who to joke on, and when to strike. And by dragging Jim Jones into Max B's homecoming, he turned a happy moment into a viral moment. But even though he turned it into a joke, there's a weird sense of respect underneath it. 50 knows Max is a legend. He knows Max coming home is bigger than any troll. He knows this moment means something, even if he jokes about it. This whole situation made people wonder, could Jim Jones and Max B ever make peace? Could they ever stand in the same room again? Could they maybe even make music for the culture one day? That idea alone has fans imagining how huge that moment would be. Harlem would go crazy. The internet would explode. The industry would stop. But right now, that dream feels far away. Jim doesn't look ready to forgive, and Max seems at peace, but he's also not chasing anything that brings negative energy. So for now, their paths are separate, even though the world keeps watching them like two stars that might cross again. But here's the part nobody expected. People started noticing that just a few days before Max B's release, Jim Jones was spotted at a Jets game with Mano. And on the same night Max B came home, Max went to that same Jets game later. Fans started whispering that maybe they passed each other backstage or in the stadium halls. Nothing has been confirmed, but the optics were crazy. The idea of them being in the same building for the first time in 16 years made people feel like they were watching history unfold in real time. People were waiting to see if anything would happen, even though deep down they knew both men were too smart to let anything go down in public. The bigger picture here is that hip-hop is watching this moment like a movie. 50 Cent is playing the role of instigator. French Montana is the loyal friend bringing the wave back. Jim Jones is the private rival holding his pain close. And Max B is the star returning from a long journey, stepping into the world with new eyes, new peace, and new purpose. And the fans are sitting like an audience, waiting to see what the next chapter will bring. That's why you should watch till the end, because the final part of this story brings everything together in a way that shows how wild hip-hop can be when old history meets new beginnings.
Because while fans were busy imagining a reunion, Max B did something nobody thought he would do. He didn't feed the drama. He didn't throw shots. He didn't respond to the memes, the jokes, the trolling, or the chaos swirling around his name. Instead, he doubled down on gratitude. He kept talking about second chances, about rebuilding his life, about being present for his family, and giving the world music that comes from a place of growth instead of pain. And that alone made people respect him even more. It was like he understood that stepping back into the spotlight didn't mean stepping back into the past. But even with Max choosing peace, the streets kept stirring the pot. Every blog page, every comment section, every hip-hop forum was buzzing with theories. Some people swore Jim Jones was waiting for the right moment to speak. Others said Jim had already spoken through his silence. And a few fans even claimed insiders told them that conversations were happening behind the scenes. Nothing confirmed, just whispers. Because while fans were busy imagining a reunion, Max B did something nobody thought he would do. He didn't feed the drama. He didn't throw shots. He didn't respond to the memes, the jokes, the trolling, or the chaos swirling around his name. Instead, he doubled down on gratitude. He kept talking about second chances, about rebuilding his life, about being present for his family, and giving the world music that comes from a place of growth instead of pain. And that alone made people respect him even more. It was like he understood that stepping back into the spotlight didn't mean stepping back into the past. But even with Max choosing peace, the streets kept stirring the pot. Every blog page, every comment section, every hip-hop forum was buzzing with theories. Some people swore Jim Jones was waiting for the right moment to speak. Others said Jim had already spoken through his silence. And a few fans even claimed insiders told them that conversations were happening behind the scenes. Nothing confirmed, just whispers, but enough to keep the entire culture on edge. Because when two giants with history this deep move quietly, the silence becomes louder than any interview. Meanwhile, 50 Cent kept dropping posts that felt like coded messages. One day he'd clown the past. The next day he'd hint at a Harlem moment coming soon. With 50, you never know if he's teasing a TV storyline, trolling for fun, or signaling that something big is already in motion. But if there's one thing people know about 50, it's that he doesn't throw shots unless he sees a bigger play. And with Max B back home, fans started wondering if 50 was setting the stage for something the culture has waited nearly 2 decades to witness. And while all this speculation grew louder, Max kept making moves that proved he wasn't here to be a headline. He was here to work. He was back in the booth. He was meeting producers. He was recording melodies that reminded older fans of the mixtape era, while giving younger fans something fresh. Every clip of him in the studio went viral instantly. Not because of hype, but because people could feel the hunger. The wave was resurfacing, and it felt unstoppable. French Montana stayed right by his side, almost like he was protecting the legacy. In every video, every photo, every session, you could see how much this moment meant to him. French wasn't just happy Max was home, he was determined to help him reclaim his spot. And knowing French, that means features, big rollouts, documentaries, possibly even a tour celebrating the wave era. The culture hasn't had a moment like this in a long time, and it feels like everyone wants to make sure Max gets the shine he was robbed of. But here's the twist, the one nobody is talking about yet. Max B's return isn't just about music or beef or history. It's about redemption. It's about watching someone walk out of the darkest chapter of their life and step into a world that finally recognizes their influence. It's about seeing a man who was written off by the industry come home and immediately shift the energy of the entire culture. Many artists come back from prison trying to pick up where they left off. Max came back trying to move forward. And that's what makes the final chapter of this story so powerful. Hip-hop isn't just watching a comeback, it's watching a transformation. Max B went in as a wave pioneer. He came out as a wave legend. And now the question isn't whether he can reclaim his sound, it's whether the industry is ready for the original creator to walk back into a game built on pieces of his style. Because one thing is clear, the wave isn't returning. The wave was waiting. And now that Max B is finally free, the culture is about to see what happens when a man who changed the sound of a generation finally gets the chance to tell his story on his own terms.